in my quest and request to get comments about things that you see happening that you believe are going to turn out good for everybody. I did get a comment, and again, it's, there's a lot of negative out there, and so I was requesting, please tell me how this that I see as a little bit scary, give me your spin on it and tell me how it's actually good. And so this comment that I got was about the press and how the White House is now going to choose the pool. And this person said, watch the whole press conference, basically saying, because it's a good thing they're going to be choosing from more people to report who weren't allowed to before. So I did watch the press conference, and Caroline's main talking points in the press conference, which is it was only 3 minutes long. So it's not a hard watch if you want to search for it and watch it yourself. But her main talking points were that the White House Correspondents Association chooses who makes up the pool of journalists that travel with the president. And they've done this for over 100 years. So we're talking coverage of the president when he leaves the White House, goes to a different state, whatever. And now, instead, those few that travel with the president and cover the president will be chosen by the White House press team instead of the Correspondents Association. The White House press team will open the pool, and some who have not been included in the opportunity pool will now be considered. Slight pause there. Does that mean, well, we'll get into what the pool is and what the Associated Press is in a minute, but does this mean we have someone sitting in his mom's basement who's decided he's a journalist because he has a blog is now going to be considered? They didn't really clarify that, but the opportunity pool will now be considered from those who had not been included previously. And the White House, will continue a rotation amongst the five major news networks, and they will still be in the pool, and other streaming services will be included. They will rotate a print pooler and a radio pooler. A print pooler transcribes remarks in real time. And they will choose reporters who are, and this is her quote, well suited to cover the news of the day and ask substantive questions. So again, they get to decide what the definition of a substantive question is. And she specifically said this is to shake things up, and a select group of reporters should not have a monopoly on who has access. She also then says that this gives the power back to the people. Okay, if we just stop there and take it at face value, then absolutely yes, this is great news. Expanding the pool is a great idea because, as TR said to me, that's my husband, the way to obtain and consume news has changed significantly, even just in the last decade, 2 decades, right? Okay, so face value, good news. But I have to add an asterisk to that good news label. Let's get into it. I'm going to assume that some of the terms that she used that I just quoted to you and words are foreign to you. They kind of were to me. And since I'm not a journalist, I dug into it and to put it together what it actually means. As a side note, I will say that my favorite show, The West Wing, did a great job of showing how the White House press corps works, and what the traveling pool is and what it does. And if you're interested, the president depicted in that show, yes, is a Democrat, but the show kind of goes beyond that and really does a good job of showing how things actually work. And they do include both parties and how they work together. And anyway, but I digress. Okay. First of all, the White House has and does determine whether any event involving the president is open press or pool press, or pool only, I should say. So open press or pool only. And if it's pool only, it's because of space restraints. For example, the press pool has to travel with the president, and usually on Air Force One. So, there's not a lot of room, or there's security reasons. So open press is everyone. That's usually the one in the White House press room. Pool only is that select group. Okay, so could the White House decide that access to the president will be pool only from now on? So that, because that's the part that they say they're going to choose. So possibly that is one of the reasons that there needs to be an asterisk. So let's talk about what is the pool and what is the White House Correspondents Association, which you will see WHCA. It's White House Correspondents Association. Okay. This association is a board. Well, it's an association. They have a board of elected members who are elected by the correspondents who are members of the association. So basically, it's a big group of journalists. They elect leaders. Every 3 years, 3 members of the board are up for re-election, so the board changes, and it's staggered. And each board member represents newspaper, magazines, and new media, so internet probably, wire services, radio, TV, and photographers. 6 of the members, 1 each represents those 6 things. And then you have 3 other elected at large to represent any of those 3 or any of those 6 that are also on the board. So, okay, right now that board has a pretty even mix of people who are from left and right leaning and center organizations, news organizations. I looked them up. There's 1 from Politico, 2 from CBS, 1 from Bloomberg, 1 from Fox News, 1 from Reuters, one from the BBC, 1 from ABC, and Getty Images is where the photography rep is from. So that is actually a pretty good mix of left, right, and center. They are the board members. They're the people who choose the pool and when an event is pool only. So they look through the vast applicants who have joined the association by paying dues, having letters of recommendation from outlets they reported or photographed for, and they prove themselves to best represent their outlets. You can bet that the board is choosing people who report the way that they would report, right? And again, we have a good mix. This could get us into a discussion of bias, but it's its own discussion. So bias is not a bad thing, but it's a real thing. But it is a whole other discussion. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll stick to the idea that this is a good mix of people choosing a good mix of people to cover the event. And then the people that cover it send the information back to their news outlets and out to other news outlets so that the information can be passed about to us, the consumer. So we usually hear of them referred to as the AP, the Associated Press. I am going to assume that when she said the White House press team will open the pool, she means they will be choosing journalists from beyond the association. Or maybe they'll be looking at those who haven't ever been called up from the association and call them up. I don't know exactly. She didn't specify. But yes, that is a good thing. That could be a good thing. In fact, it would be awesome if the Utah legislature would follow suit and do the same. Again, a whole nother discussion though. Okay, but we're back to that pesky asterisk on that. Yes, this is good news. Asterisk. Who is the White House press team? They're the ones that will now be choosing the pool. Who is that? Who makes up the White House press team? From what I can gather and find, it's Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, and her staff. So before I go any further, I want to give you this scenario. I asked people to message me with what they feel are steps being taken now that will result in good things down the line, and how that's going to work or play out. Like, why is this going to be a good thing? And I received one message. It wasn't a private message, from someone I know. And every interaction I've ever had in real life with this person has been them jokingly patronizing me, or, trying to get a rise out of me. And that's actually how this person seems to interact with everyone. And I don't mind it. It's fine most of the time. I can take it, I can give it. But that's not the vibe I'm going for right now. So I'm not going to share what they said. They also only listed the recent orders, executive orders, or things going down that they've been enjoying, and suggested that others who don't feel the same are foolish. And they never gave me a why or how this is good or will be good for the rest of us. So, by not sharing those comments, am I controlling the narrative? Our comment thread is viewable on Facebook. I'm not restricting access, but I am controlling what I share and what I talk about. Right? So should I be able to do that? This is my page, my video, and I get to decide what I share, right? We all feel that way. That's freedom of speech. Okay, I am not the leader of the executive branch. I didn't take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States to the best of my ability, nor did I promise to represent all people and execute the other duties of the office of the president, one of which is to represent all people in the country. So those who do take that oath are automatically held to a higher standard than the average citizen, which I am. So back to the press conference. Caroline Leavitt claimed that this move to give the White House pick of the pool was to give the power back to the people. But it seems like they're giving the power to the White House, right? How is that giving it to the people when they have now said, no, we're going to choose. We, the White House press team, are going to choose. So again, that's why there's an asterisk on this is good news. And that's why I still maintain my original stance that this is creeping into dictator territory. I would 100% say that if there were a Democrat in the White House right now. This is not about party. This is about the executive branch trying to control information. And while the Constitution only mentions that Congress, the legislative branch, shall make no laws that abridge the freedom of press, it doesn't name the executive branch as being restricted from doing so. But this is the executive branch taking over a job that was once done by an independent entity, someone not in the White House. So whether you're Republican or you have a Republican or a Democrat in office, they should not be in charge of choosing who reports their own words and actions. There should be an independent, mixed bias group. I think we can all agree on that. So a lot of us would have cried foul if Joe Biden had done this. It's okay to be a little sus that Trump is doing it, right? Especially since he's already proven time again that he prefers people who agree and support everything he says and does. Anyone that has ever disagreed with him has been called names and their character has been picked away. And not just their professional persona, their actual character, or they've been fired. And I'm not trying to radicalize anything. This is the case. We've all seen it. If you like that he acts like that, okay. But the fact is, he likes to have people who agree with him surrounding him and talking to him and helping him, right? Who doesn't like that? Who doesn't like to have people that you agree with around you all the time? I know, I get that. But given that history, it is reasonable to assume in this particular case that he and his press team are going to favor reporters who agree with Donald Trump when they're choosing a pool from an expanded list. So, good news is that there will be more outlets and representation to choose from. And wonderful news, if they do it right, and pick those reporters from outlets from both sides of the bias, right? That is the good news. Asterisk, because deciding which information will be allowed and who gets to get the information to put out is really towing the line of a dictatorship. It really is. Controlling information is what a dictator does. So again, we'd be having the same conversation if it was Biden or Obama or either of the two Bushes. That is the truth, right? So, good news with an asterisk.